So I wanted to get a walkthrough of the mill before it goes through more changes. You know, it's kind of like first gen or whatever, I don't know. But everyone's always like, why don't you take more photos, more videos of what you're doing? And, you know, a lot of the work is just incredibly monotonous and boring. So, you know, I didn't really film much of it because I didn't think many people would be interested. But let me do a walkthrough to kind of just show off what I put together here. And I was gonna do a walkthrough of the rest of the shop. Like the audio system and welders and the welding setup and everything. And it's just a mess. It's like, oof. You know, we fired up the mill last week, and like since then it's just been like, let's have fun and saw wood, and I haven't really had a cleaning day for a couple weeks, so it's pretty good and messed up. So we'll save that for another day. Anyways, here is the mill. Let me see if I can get my perspective switched around here. I think I'm gonna have to stop and restart. So it's basically, hey, big shout out Matt Cremona, dude, you rock. Thanks, man. Really pretty awesome. You know, it's like the genesis of it all was a few years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. It was a pipe dream. I just thought it'd be so cool to have a sawmill someday. You know, I wasn't even thinking about anything quite this large. And then I had the good fortune, my friend Matt Kutek, he messaged me and was like, yo man, you should consider throwing your name in the hat for this. And this was a call for applications for positions to help run the sawmill at Baraboo Woodworks in Madison, Wisconsin. And I had the good fortune that they chose me. And so anyways, fast forward, after building invaluable experience at that, fast forward some years, and with the gracious support of my amazing wife, Sharon, we jumped into this a couple years ago now, and it's been a process ever since. So anyways, back to square one. That's a little bit of the background on why I built this thing. Matt Cremona, thanks man. These are basically the Cremona plans that have been kind of beefed up. JG style, Josh Keidel style. If you know me, you know I like to kind of make things beefy, real beefy. So here we have 30-inch bandsaw wheels, the mega roller guides from Cooks. I'm going with an 1.5-inch blade, although I can switch that. I would like to keep a small blade. I can't believe, you know, hey, made it through a whole yard ash log with no metal. So the idea is keep the blade size small, and that way I will be able to hopefully save $1 or $2 on blades. We'll see. So far, so good. With the first blade, has made it through quite a bit of board feet. The cross cutting is really challenging. So far, so good. It's been running really smooth. 20 horsepower, 3-phase motor. I lucked into. I went to go and pick that up. It was a eBay listing, and it turned out it was new old stock in the box, made in America, when Siemens apparently used to make motors in America. Boy, I'm having a hard time getting enough space between me and the mill to really kind of show things off here. Okay, this is better. All right, so it has not a gravity water system. It has a pump in there. And so the pump system here goes, you know, through the hose, blah, 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 blah. And one thing that I learned from running the Hudson 52 was I felt it was insufficient to just have water hitting the blade on the top. So this one squirts water at pressure, adjustable pressure rate to both the top and the bottom of the blade. The blade guides, it has 2 sets of linear rails, this big set here, as well as a little smaller auxiliary set, and they are really smooth to adjust. No change in blade tracking when you move the blade guides. So I went with the mega drive bearing for the drive wheel. I was having a heck of a time finding anyone who would build me a shaft. And so I finally was just like, well, whatever. Cooks will do it for me. I'm going that route. So I got the Cooks Mega dry bearing. So far, so good. It runs pretty hot. It's a pretty big bearing. It's about a 6-inch set of bearings here. And it does run hot. It's kind of hard to get a sense for how big this bearing is. But there's my hand next to it. So I put this cooling fan here. So yeah, let's see, anything else about the drive wheel setup? I use a segmented belt, which I really feel like keeps things smoother. I have had good success with them on all my other equipment, so I have a segmented belt on here. I think that's about it for the tracking drive wheel. I also used the Mega Idle wheel from Cooks. And I think that's pretty much it for the wheels. I use a surfactant as my blade lubricant. Okay, you don't need the rest of the aroma and coloring, etc. Just go and find a really good non-toxic surfactant. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go around here. So the next thing we can see here are the electronics for this system. And it was pretty complicated to get this to work out. We only have 220 here at the shop, and the VFD system that powers the 3-phase motor, the big 20 horsepower motor, is 460. So after a shit ton, well, that's a lot of research, I realized, I discovered that I could step up the voltage via a transformer, much searching, and I found a transformer that suits the bill. So main power goes in here. This is a, explosion proof switch into the transformer. Once the transformer is powered up, it stabilizes. Another explosion proof switch into the VFD. The VFD is considerably oversized for the application. It is a Honeywell, and it's a 50 horse. So if you ever decide you are going to get, I got a smoking deal on this VFD. It's crazy. But if you decide you're going to get a Honeywell VFD, just know that when you call their customer service, they're going to encourage you to do nothing creative with their products. They're going to be like, you can't do that. That's not what we designed that for. They're like, well, I'm pretty sure it's going to do it. And so far, so good. Basic guidelines, D rating, about half power on the D rated VFD. Okay, that's the main power system that powers, so it goes from this cabinet up through some 4-gauge. I wanted a nice beefy wire down to the 20 horsepower motor, okay? Next we have the much simpler and smaller VFDs that handle the power forward and backwards, and power up and down for the saw head. And those are both just Amazon Chinese specials. They're so cheap, they might as well be disposable. Hopefully they run good. This is my first extended experience with them. More China stuff. Here is the pump that powers the hydraulic tensioning system. From my previous experience, when you do have to change blades, sometimes you have to change blades a lot. If you get a gnarly log, you end up running into a lot of issues. You can be in a situation where you're having to change blades constantly. And that said, I did not want to be doing that manually, so I put a power system in, and I'm really glad I did. It's really simple. Here's like the main control panel that I look at when I'm running the VFD. I have amperage, voltage, RPM, hertz readings all for the main motor, so I can get a really good accurate sense for how that motor is working. The other two VFDs, I get a reading of the hertz output, so the rate at which the electricity is being sent to the motors. Here are the two auxiliary motor. I don't know what you call it. They're gear reduction box motors. That this one controls the forward and back, a little bit lighter duty, a little bit more heavy duty. This is the one that powers this system that raises and lowers the saw head. Lot of back and forth and experimentation with both of those items. hopefully I'll start to get some good luck. I've had to replace some parts. I've had some things that didn't work out as planned, but I feel like I'm getting it dialed in. Here we have a little measuring tape that I just installed. That's been really handy. Cutting 4/4 yesterday was really smooth with that. I'm really looking forward to using that again this afternoon. This gives you a really clear idea of just the amount of fab work that was done here. I'm not trying to be a master fab. I follow, so many amazingly talented fabricators, and I doubt that'll ever be me, but I built it really heavy duty. A lot of 1-inch thick steel, a lot of 3/4 inch. I think the light steel on this machine is 1/2 inch. So this thing is beefy. We have this is 4-inch tube, 4-inch 3/8 wall tube for all 4 corners of the carriage, and then it's 1/4 wall for the middle pieces. Super heavy duty. This is 2x6 steel. I think there's probably, I don't know, maybe 7,000 or 8,000 pounds of steel in the machine. I think the saw head weighs in the 1,000-pound range, 11-ish 100-pound range. I think the rest of it is probably about another 1,000, so we're probably looking at the 2,000 plus range for this whole assembly here. And then of course the saw bed is pretty substantially heavy as well. This is where it sits right now. There's probably going to be some things that'll be changed with it as time goes on. I can already start to envision some improvements. Hopefully I get a lot of months of worry-free operation out of my saw head lift system. I feel like I might be right at the threshold of what the setup is comfortable with weight-wise. So if that doesn't settle into many months of worry-free, reliable usage, that system's going to be redesigned. Thankfully, at this stage, as I've said a number of times, the anxiety of something breaking and the amount of work involved in putting this whole thing together is diminishing as I start to realize that, repairs at this point, redesigns at this point, they're relatively insignificant considering the fact that the whole machine's already built. We have linear rails to guide the saw head up and down. One other thing that I haven't really shown yet and is really awesome. A lot of thought went into designing this system. So it's a 4-wheel drive system. These wheels are really cool. These come from a company that makes roller coaster wheels, which I just think is so cool. And so all 4 corners get drive. What I learned from previous experience was that you can get a lot of racking depending on how the power is applied to the mill. And I still actually get some. It takes so much power to drive the mill forward. When I engage the drive, this is the shaft that carries the power from one side of the mill all the way over to the other side of the mill. And then you'll see this chain takes that power down to the other set of drive wheels, right? It takes so much torque to make that happen. This 1-inch thick steel shaft twists and torques. So this side takes off slightly faster than that side. Here, let me come over here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So when I accelerate the whole saw head, the whole mill, this side moves forward slightly faster than this side, ever so slightly. So, that's something that, maybe down the road when shafts are expensive. Keyed shafting is expensive. So, at some point down the road, maybe I'll put a heavier shaft up there and I'll get less of a torque loss. Maybe I'll reposition this motor so that it's closer to a shared torque input. So each side has the same torque loss. Anyways, already starting to find ways to improve. I'm sure some set works, etc., will make their way onto the mill eventually. But 72-inch cutting capacity, both directions. Couldn't be more pleased. I mean, I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful to have, really, it's about the support of my wife, Sharon. I'm just I'm speechless at how great of a gift she's given me, allowing me this time to explore this project and hopefully develop it into a business. it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting what I'm looking forward to here with the mill. So thanks everybody for the support. Pretty exciting stuff.